Hello everyone, welcome back to TRI-SSI, the asset management channel. And I'm making this video in respect of a couple of individuals who need to know how to build their own route inspections to use the mobile route while out in the field. And they want to make their own inspections. So I'm going to jump right in, make it very brief, succinct, to the point. But again, this is Pure IO, and it is the asset management tool that TRI-SSI and others use to manage their assets. Jump right in to first understanding routes. You can see that a route inspection may be, and in this respect, I'm going to do some route inspections while out in the field. I'll log into my phone using this and open up my mobile route getter. Basically, what you see here on the screen. And I will access my database, which I have many, but I'm going to click into the Anywhere database that you see there. And then what you will see are basically inspection routes that we use, such as this on the screen. Okay. As a matter of fact, that very inspection route that I have up on the screen right there, lift station 101, or number 1, I'm going to grab it. You can see that it's loading, and it just loaded. So the same questions on the screen are on this. So you can do inspections while out in the field. And then submit them, and instantly they're right back where they belong. This video is on how to build these routes so that your users in the field can go out, gather information, feed it back to the main program to process it however it's managed to be processed, or feed information back to others too that need to know. So let's get started. Okay. For the first thing, you go into the administration page and you open up Route Manager. That's what we're about to do. And you can see that in this, and this is my demo database, in the Anywhere database, you can see a number of inspections here. These are basically the route descriptions. You have to name a route, and then you have to add questions to that route that tag to assets that you may have out there or inside the database, and you want inspected while out in the field. And that's what this is. Then once you name the route, build the route, name the route, then what you do is you add question sets to that route, such as on number 1. I can just hover over it and you can see that there are 6 questions associated with this route. Very simple. And that's what we're going to do now, is build a route just like that. Let's just do this. We can, on this lift station number 5, which we've never done so far, I'm actually going to delete it. Okay, delete it because it was never had any questions in it. And then we're going to go rebuild lift station number 5. Now, if I want to build the route, the first thing that I do is add a new route. And you can see it's going to ask me questions. So I'm going to say, this is lift station number 5. All right. And then it's going to ask me a few more questions because it needs information about how do you want me to process this. I understand what its name is now, but tell me what it is. All right, this is an operator's route. Why do I know it's an operator's route? An operator's going to go do it. There are engineering routes, inspection routes, maintenance routes, other routes like that. You basically have to be in that organization in order to be able to run a route that's assigned to that. In this respect, we use normally just the operator's route. All right, and I'm going to assign it, of course, to myself. All right, and then how frequently do you want to run this route? That's the next question. How often are you going to run this? And I'll tell you why that is. Because if I go out there and run a route on my phone, such as this, and I'll go back to my original, there are a lot of routes that I get to run. Well, the good part is if I say run this anytime, then I can run this route and immediately it pops right back up. If I say run it once a day, as soon as I run this route, it goes away until tomorrow at midnight. If I say run it once a week, I run the route, and in our respect, our week start on Monday, then it goes away for the rest of it. So if I do this route on Monday, it goes away until the following Monday. If I do it on Friday, it comes back on Monday. If I do it on Sunday, it comes back on Monday because our week starts. But as soon as I do it, it goes away for the rest of that week, comes back following. Same thing applies to monthly, annually. You may have some routes that are annually, believe it or not. So that's the reason you say that. And in this respect, I will say, we'll make this route daily. So when I do it today, I'm done. I want it to disappear off of my list of things to do, but tomorrow I need it to come back. Okay. I always just punch in the scheduled date, being today. It's really never last done, but I stick a last done in there. Now, this is the next important part. And if you'll see, there are little asterisks here that say these things have to be filled out. All right. Now, the input mode, because I use a web browser to do it, you don't have to load anything on the phone or the iPad or whatever tool you want to use. You basically use a web browser, so that's a good thing. So we say this is going to be a web entry. Now, I tell you, there are other input modes that we use for harder coded devices that maybe you cradle and it puts the information back in after you've done that, or small handheld computers that we do. But in this case, and in today's case, most all of the world, it's simply smartphones, smart tablets, and that's all web entry type stuff. Tell it where I am, because believe it or not, we're all across the country and in some respects other side of the world. So, and in this respect, I'm sitting on the East Coast right now, Surfside Beach, woohoo, South Carolina. Kind of nice to be here. Just for general purposes, we like to know about how long do I expect for this inspection to take when I go out there. So it shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. That just give you some idea of from the time I open it to the time I submit it. Should be about 15 minutes. Shouldn't take longer than that. It may, but may not. That gives the program time to do some understanding of, do I have enough resources to do all this stuff? Because I mean, you may have an inspection that takes 4 hours, and if you expect that 4-hour route to be done every single day, and then you've got 10 of those 4-hour routes, well, you better have at least 5 people on staff, because it's going to take a lot of time to do it. It kind of lets you know that. Should I ever alert? All right, and I'm going to say right now, if I don't do this, if I skip a day, okay, but if I skip the next day, let me know, or let someone know, okay? And again, I'm doing this for operations. Sometimes when we have a lot of equipment to inspect, we may jump around. We may not follow the full flow of of the inspection. So we may say, do I want to be able to scan a barcode and it asks me questions when I get up there? How do I want to sort through this route? Or do I want to do it based on the equipment that I'm about to inspect? And if I do it based on equipment, it basically aligns the equipment to whatever I need. In this respect, I'm going to say I'm going to leave it to barcode. Don't need to add anything to it. I'm not going to make it active yet because I haven't put any questions in it. So all of that was just based on the route itself. There are 2 more fields up here. We're not going to talk about those fields. CAMs are a continuous algorithm methodology that we use. Not going to talk about that. We're changing that name, by the way, but we don't use it. It isn't necessarily something that we should be doing and are doing. We do not use CAMs at this moment. We're using a different methodology. But basically it runs routes in the background and processes information. Don't need it. And should I give any operator alerts? All right. And I'm going to say none. And once I do that, I'll save that route. Okay, let's go back to my list and see if it showed up. And if you see, I deleted it, but it's back in there now, lift station 5. Now assume that you have a whole bunch of routes to do. And in certain things, some people, they may have 70 new stations that they need to do. Let's just say lift stations that they need to do. And they're going to have to do this over and over and over again. Let me show you a quicker way to do what we just did. So I've built the type of inspection that I want to use to go out in the field and make an inspection. I've built it saying it's going to be daily. It's going to be done via a mobile device. It's going to be done for operations. I've added all that information to it. So I've created that route, but now I need to do that 50, 60, 70 more times because that's how many routes I'm going to have to put in. Well, you don't have to go through that whole process of add new again. Don't have to necessarily do that. You can literally come over here, click on that copy field, and notice it copies and sticks everything back in there just like it is. Operator's route. All right. There I am, daily inspection, blah, 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 blah. And all I have to do is say, this isn't going to be number 5. This one's going to be number 6. And I save it. I go back to my list, see what happened. And lo and behold, inspection number 6. Now, don't get me wrong. None of them have questions on them yet. But we're going to put questions on them. All right, so let's do the one we were working on, number 5. But what I did was showed you how to quickly put those new names in there all of a sudden. Now you'll still have to add questions to them when they get back, but you won't have to spend the time to rebuild every single route that nameplate that you need. Let's go with number 5 like we were going to. Okay, right now number 5 is blank. There's nothing in it. There's no questions. It just tells me there's a name there. Can't ask questions. I mean, you gotta decide on some questions. So we're going to have to start adding questions. Let's go back to it. Notice there are questions here, but there are no questions in these others. All right. So we're going to put questions in there for the folks out in the field. With this certain area that we're inspecting, here are the questions that I have for you. Please answer these questions. Tell me, tell others, tell the program how it's doing, did we inspect it, the things that need to take place. That's how you build the route. Okay, so what we're going to do is add our very first question to lift station number 5. And if you notice, everything has a route ID. This is route ID number 47. This is the 47th route that I've built in there. So I'm going to add a new question. And now it becomes, what's the description? Name my question. Ask my question. Now, for the sake of knowing that There are many inspections, and we're talking about lift stations out in the field. I took another lift station question set that I had, and I put it right here. So I went ahead and copied that lift station. You can see that there was a route already there. And so all I'm going to do, rather than me type this information in, is I basically copy it, paste it in there. All right. Are there any signs of security breaches going into lift stations? Now, this is a big question that will be asked, especially in the water world, where we're having to process and maintain drinking water for those in the community. So we have to ask that question. We've named our question. All right, this is the first question. So I'm going to type, this is one. Basically, I'm telling the program, so after I ask question number one and you go on to the next one, where do you want to go next? And I'm going to say, I want to go to the second one after that. So I'm starting to tell this program that's only as smart as you make it to be the process of what we want to do. All right. We're not messing with parents. There is a methodology inside the program to say, are there hope that didn't blind you, are there parents that I should follow or be reporting to? Is this a sub-level question? If it were a sub-level question, I may say one here. No, we don't want to talk about that. We're going to leave those alone. All right. And then here's the next thing. So this is a point in time that I'm asking the question. What is going to be my response? Is it going to be me punching in some numbers or writing in some verbiage to answer this question? Or can I do something to help that person in the field a little bit? And respectful of this question, I'm going to ask it some multiple choice. Simply yes, no, or didn't ask it. Whatever the case may be. All right? That's the way it's going to be. Now, technology. This is very important because this technology the program has a way of posting this answer to certain areas of our program, and in this respect, status. If I were to click on status, and I'm not going off of it right now, but if I were to click on status, we can ask a multiple of different informations, and it gives me a basically worldview very quickly of things that are in or not in compliance or whatever the case is going to be. So I'm actually going to ask this. This is actually more of a compliance question. Compliance being that it's supposed to be all closed up, and if it's not, then we're out of compliance if it's just sitting there wide open. All right. The rules and the laws say keep your lift stations closed up, keep them locked, and all that good stuff that goes with it. All right. Now, I'm going to say it also asks standard names. All right. And in this respect of this question, we just leave it to the default entry. We're not going to give it a standard name, but if I were doing research, I'd want to come back and look at standard names. All right. How often do I want to ask this question? I want to ask it any time that we do this inspection. So I could say that. Now, I could have a longer built inspection list and ask a multitude of questions, but say, I don't need this person to inspect this, but once every 2 weeks when they go in there. So if I say check the oil level in the diesel tank, let's just say it's got an emergency generator, check the oil level in the diesel generator, then maybe I just want it checked every 2 weeks. I don't need it checked every time you go in there. So when they're doing a daily inspection, but when they answer that question on this very route inspection won't show back up for 2 weeks. And then it's time to answer that question again. It'll show back up then. But in this case, I'm going to say, Answer it any time that it comes up. All right. The question here is, if we have a barcode, and we do have barcodes on this, and we come up and say, I'm a lift station, it's going to open up this question in this area for this. And say, so maybe I have a barcode and I want to inspect the lift station, and then, I walk over and if it were a generator question, like I said, then I want to go say, I'm at the generator, scan the barcode on the generator, and it's going to ask me the questions on the generator. It doesn't have to follow a certain process. That helps that person in the field very much. Okay. Frequency. Now, this is the important part. So we're going to say, where is this piece of equipment that I'm going to be inspecting? Okay. And I think in this respect, I've put it at the lift station here, and it's lift station number 5. Notice I kind of knew where to go. These are hierarchy questions. I could go to wastewater treatment plants. I could go to, I've even got some other inspections in here. But is it an influent plant? This one actually is in what's called the PCA lift station area. And the very lift station that we're inspecting and the assets that we're going to inspect is in number 5 lift station. Hence, I called it number 5 lift station inspection. Okay. So that answered the general questions about this. And I want you to pay attention to the point type again. So we've got more questions to answer on this question that we're about to ask someone in the field. We ask these questions for various reasons. But what point type is this? What unit of measure? Notice that's the only thing that's highlighted here is unit of measure, and that's all we're going to talk about. We're not getting it from some imported area right now. This is human inspection. So what I'm going to say is we're doing this is a multiple choice, all right, question. So let's see if it's on there. How do I want it to answer? Well, maybe I just need to add a new one then. We'll say this is let me go cancel that. Maybe I do have that in there. It's a yes/no question. All right. Do I see yes/no on here? I do, right there. Yes/no. It's a yes/no question. So that's my unit of measure. Is it yes or is it no? Okay. All right. Here's my response. So if I come to my general questions and I say I'm going to aid the operator, and all they're going to have to tell me is yes or no. They don't have to type it in. Just touch the yes or touch the no. And because I've made it multiple choice, then their response is going to be one of 2 fields. All right. First one being yes, and the second one being no. All right. Now here's what we know. Take a look at this. Are there any signs of security breaches? And their response is either going to be yes or no. That's going to be their options. They can't put something else in there. It's yes or no. All right. We're not going to add any sub questions to it. We could say, if yes, was it a bad one? Was it a break-in? Was it car damage? Was it something else? We could ask a lot of questions, but in this respect, we're not going to. We're going to keep it fairly simple. But here's an important part. Okay, we knew that 1 was a yes, 2 was a no. We're going to say, does it have an alert that we should know about? And I'm going to say yes, because 1 was yes. Everything's numeric too, by the way. 1 was yes, 2 was no. And we're going to say the question is, well, what's the alert value that I want to use? And I want to say, if that reading equals 1, then I want to send an alert. Okay? And that's the way. There are others up here about notifications, validations, things like that. We don't need. Our areas of concern are the general, the points, the response, and if the response has an alert, we want to know about that. Okay? Now I'm going to save that question. We filled out everything just like, let's go back to the list and see. And there it is. You can see this is my list, and that's where it is. Now, all my questions are going to be on list station number 5. So here's what I know. I've already answered a lot of the things that I need to know. If I go back and look at this, all right, I answered where it's going to be inspected, what piece of equipment it's going to be tagged to, all right. I answered some other things there, but pretty much now I've got a canned answer set, all right. We could start with a brand new question, add new, all right, and do this all over again. Or we could do what we did with naming this route. Notice I've got my question built. I could copy that question. Now, it gives me an exact replica. And if I said save, program's going to tell me you can't do that because certain things look identical. So you're going to have to make some changes to it. Here's what I know. That's not the question I'm going to ask anymore. All right. I'm going to ask this next question. What's my wet well pit level? All right. And I'm actually going to change that verbiage a little. Wet well pit level. Let's just say, leave it that. That's what we're going to do. Wet well pit level. All right. I'm going to change this number to a 2. Next one's going to be a 3. All right. I am going to leave it multiple choice because, again, one person may say it's 50%. Next person may say it's 5, meaning 50. They may use that. Or one person might put in high and the next person might put in different. I'm going to give them some more specifics, things that I want to know. Okay. So I'm going to keep it as multiple choice. All right. Again, the technology is, it's probably more operational rather than compliance. Could be compliance, but if it's high, I've got operations things I need to do to it. So I changed that technology. Again, if it were to be high, it will show up in my status when I report this thing, and I'll show you some of that later, maybe another presentation. But trust me when I say that. Going to leave the rest of the information the way it is. Okay, multiple choice. What's my response? My point setting. All right. It's not yes or no. Okay. It's basically level. Let's see if I have one in here that says level. If not, I'll add one. Okay. Well, let's go with percent. We'll go with percent. Okay. And what's my response? I'm going to give it some multiples. Okay. Here we go. Let's do it this way. Low, normal, high, and there was my percent numbers. So let's go back to that. Let's do what I said. I changed my numbers. I'm good at this. That's good. And I left it, notice 4 states. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. That's what my response is. And I'm going to make my alert now. Get rid of that. I'm going to put this to a 4. So if it's 80% or higher, I want to know about it. All right. And I'm going to say if reading equals this limit. All right. In other words, I'm going to assume the operator's going to deal with everything. I could say too that if it's a 1, all right, meaning that it's below, if it's empty, that might be an issue, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it at a higher alert. There we are. Back to our question sets. If we save it, go back to our list. Now we have 2 more questions. All right. And that's what it looks like. Let's go with the next question. Again, I copied it. All right. Tab over. Say, did you check the floats? Are the floats checked? Let's go back here. Back to this. I'm going to go back for a reason. Look, I'm going to copy this one. And we know this is the 3rd question, by the way. All right. Floats checked. All right. You know why I went back to this one? It had a yes or no answer to it. It already had 2. It's multiple choice, but so I knew I had a yes or no question in there. I'm not going to ask it whether they did or didn't. I'm going to turn the alerts off. That's their business. Did they check it or did they not? That's between them but somebody doesn't need to know, no, I didn't, because maybe they didn't need to. They looked down in it, everything's fine. They didn't get up, it wasn't their time to check it, whatever the case may be. All right. So look, yes or no. It's that simple. Okay. My point setting is a yes or no. All right. Now, remember, this is the 3rd question. This is the 4th question. All right. It's not the last in the sequence. That was a mistake on my part. Let's save it. Back to my list. 3 questions in this checklist already. Let's go back to my, are there any alarms? How about that? So here's what we can do. Any alarms? Okay. We know it's 4. The next one below will be 5. We'll save it. Just added that question. That's good so far. What's my next one? Fencing area. Well, we just kind of asked that question. We're going to ask this question last. We're going to add a new question. All right, and I'm going to duplicate this, but I'm going to say, rather than this being, we want to know pump number 1 hours run. Okay. And then simply, please record hour meter. Notice that. Now here's the thing about it. That we're asking a specific number. Can't make that multiple choice. All right. All right. This is number 5 question. Next one will be 6. So we're going to make that a single value. We want them to punch in, tell us what the numbers are. All right. Again, it's more operational, right? So it's operations. We've got everything else on there right. The point setting is a number. All right. Notice we already have number on there. All right. Now we don't have to change this, but we can. We don't have to worry about that. Nothing's going to go in. No alerts. Don't need it. All right. We're going to save that. Now, we have 2 pumps there. So what am I going to want to do? Here's what I want to do. I want to change this. Ask a simple. Ooh, here's a good one. Let's do this. Let's do pump number 1 runtime since last recorded. I don't know why I do that, but I do it. Sometimes maybe everything should be in All right. Okay. This one is a 6 and the next one's 7. Now, here's an interesting point. All right. We could ask them, because they're going to see the last entry that was there when they're running their route. All right. They're going to see the last entry, but we can have this automatically recorded by just them tapping one single button. So here's what I'm going to say. This is going to be a calculated value. All right. It should say mobile calculated there, but we're going to say calculated value, and we can do that. Yeah, okay, leave it there, mobile calculated, and we'll do it that way, but it should say mobile calculated. All right, I'm going to check that when I get off, because what we want is it to be calculated from your phone. So when they punch it in, it's going to look at the last time, the next time, and give them a runtime. There's a reason for that. All right. And then the point setting will be, again, it'll be a number. It'll be calculated value probably, but we don't have calculated in here. That's fine. Let's see if I can add one. There we go, calculated value. Now, what that does is tells the operator in the field that's the type of number that should go in there. All right, good deal. We will save that. Back to our list. By the way, we've got a pump 2. Just as simple. Going to save it. Oop, guess what I did? This one's going to be 7, 8. See if that helped. It told me you can't do that. Back to my list. Okay, we're going to copy this one. Make it number 2. Okay, and 8, 9. Oh, not my last one. Okay, back to my list. And what did I say? We're going to copy this. What was the question? Okay. Are there any problems or concerns? All right. Now, here's what we know. The answer will come off of this one. So our next question set will be number 9. We're going to copy that one. Make this 9. This one 10. This is the last question in our subset. All right. What's our point setting? Yes or no? What's our response to? Do we have an alert? In this case, yes. Let's go back here. There we go. Please add notes as yet. So many people will say yes, and then they'll put the notes in. The person reads it somewhere else, doesn't get it. Save that. Okay, back to our list. This is inspection number 5. Looking at it right here. 10 questions. 9 questions, actually. So let's go back to our routes. Let's take a look at number 5. Now I want to show you this. Oop, not that. I didn't want to show you that. I want to show you this. notice that it's not active. Lift station right here is number 5. All right. We need to make it active. It isn't active right now. So we will. Let's do that. Lift station number 5. We'll go on here. Auto schedule. Make it active. And save it. Boom. Now, if I go back to routes, okay, look what I see here. Lift station number 5. It's never had a route performed. All right. But if I click that, it's actually going to. Now notice that calculated value doesn't come up in here because I didn't put anything in there yet. Are there any questions or issues? I'm going to say yes. And notice when I did that, it says, hey, this is going to generate an alert. Somebody's going to get that information. All right. So we'll do that. Ooh, you know what? Look at this. But I don't have a spot where I can put that. Ooh, we made a mistake. I made a mistake. You didn't. We did. So I need to fix this. I'm going to get out of this route before I save it. All right. So let's go back to my admin section. I'm going to show you how I made the mistake. Go back to Route Manager. All right. Come back down here to number 5. And those questions we asked, it was the second question. Notice it's a multiple choice, but I want to show you something. All right. What's our point setting? Oops, that was a multiple choice. Is this right? Go back to the question. I sometimes get lost, so you had to excuse me. Wet well level, multiple choice. Yes, it was. All right. So here's the reality. Point setting is %. I must have clicked the wrong thing. All right. What's my response? Notice I said 4 responses. I couldn't click the button where it was high because I only said 4. It stopped 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Wait a minute. That is 4 responses. Go back to that route. Oh, high limit. I was looking at this thing wrong. Yes, I'm going to cause an alert there. Yes, I'm going to cause an alert there. I'm going to say, looks like a car ran through the gate. Oops. Need a vacuum truck. I'm just filling this in. Now, I would be doing this in the field too, by the way. But we're going to do it on the computer just so you can see something. Did I check the floats? Yes, I did. Are there any alarms? Actually, no, which means need to check high level alarm. All right. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, whatever. This one runs more than the other one. Are there any problems or concerns? Yes. It's going to tell me about it. Okay. When it does, we will get to see some things. The answer is yes. I'm going to say high level alarm. Needs checking. I think it's my job, but we'll get that done. Okay. And that's what we do. Now, I'm on the main program, so you can do routes on the main program too. Just say somebody's decided that they're not going to do this, or for whatever reason they didn't have their mobile device, but they had a paper checklist. You can bring it back and put the paper checklist back in. And you can say, this was on the prior day. You could do that. You can do that. But it already tells us that. And what I'm going to do is submit that. Now, I just did that. I submitted it. Let's see if it responded to me. there's my first submittal of lift station inspection number 5, and notice that it created alerts and alarms for me. All right, and it did that. Now, by the way, I didn't tell it who to report to. I probably should have. Had I done that, it would have sent me messages, but I didn't. So I might need to look and find out who the system owner is, because that's probably who it contacted. But it would send out alerts to me on my text, on my email, whatever the case is, if that's what I wanted to do. Okay, and that calculated value did come in because there wasn't anything to calculate at the time. All right, that's very important. Show you one more thing. All right, let's see if I can find lift station. Go to anywhere. Let's go to lift stations. Let me show you this. So I went into my lift station. I actually could have gone like this. I could have said, go to anywhere. All right, and then told it look all the way down through there. But I want to show you something. Just show me the equipment with no, just show me all of it. See where I am. All right, where is lift station number 5? There we go. All right, so here's lift station number 5. Remember I told you those categories of why we needed to put certain things, and I picked operations, compliance, environmental, or whatever. Notice that under compliance, I have some concerns. Those concerns came off of the very question sets that I just asked for it. See this? Are there any problems or concerns? And the answer was yes, and high level needs checking. Okay, now I did that, and then there are others in there. Notice number 5 has 3 of them. Okay, that was that one. This is the other one. So an alert goes out and explains something, and this is the message that it sends out. Okay, just wanted to show you that. That's in today's training session. Again, how to build routes. Oh, by the way, let's just do this. I will show you, if I can show you on my phone. All right, I will log in. It didn't like my face. Okay, I'm logging back into the program. Get back over here. Logging back into the program. Uses my pretty face. Going back to find what I'm looking for. Notice number 5 lift station inspection came up. All right, I'm going to say download number 5 lift station inspection. Okay, and that's what it did. It downloaded it for me, so I can answer these questions. Are there any signs? I'm actually going to say no. All right, and we'll say gate fixed. That's what I've done, is did the gates fixed. All right, and my level's basically normal now, somewhere 20 to 40%. I'm answering these questions very quick. Question floats checked. Yes, I checked them. Okay. Any alarms? Nope. Everything's good. All right. Pump run hours. I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. All right. I'm going to put in 1, 2, 4, 4, 4. That's good. And then the next one, I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 8, 0. Sounds good to me. Are there any questions or concerns? No. All right. Remember, I said gate's fixed. I'm submitting it, if you can see. Hopefully it'll come back. Look, complete. See this? Complete. Close it. Brings me back to my inspections. Okay. Now, if I go look at the routes again, and I look at the routes on number 5, there it is. We can look at that. Notice I said gate was fixed. Let's do this. Let's blow it up a little bit. You can see that the gate was fixed right there. I answered those questions. I answered those information things. Folks, that's it. Very briefly, wanted to do that because there were people who saying, show me the simple, easy ways to build a route. And that's what we've done. If you liked it, again, give me a thumbs up. I'll see you somewhere down the road. We'll talk some more about asset management. These are the inner workings of various things. Thanks and have a good day. Hopefully, I'll log out of that and we'll call it a day. Have a great time.